Kelly, Q4 revenue coming in at $60.45 billion. Estimates were for $59.83 billion.
Amazon did $60.5 billion in sales in just 3 months. That was Q4 2017. And you're here to get your piece of that $60.5 billion. And your timing is good, because for the first time in history, 2017 saw over 50% of all units sold on Amazon coming from third-party sellers like you. So what do you need to do to get paid here? There's really just one simple thing. Appear in search results. When a customer does a search, they buy your product, and boom, your yacht is in the marina. This is called ranking. So you might be wondering, okay, well, how do I rank? This is your definitive step-by-step guide to ranking on Amazon and making more money. There are 3 top-level stages: page, performance, and push. I'll do a quick overview now, and then we'll cover 10 actionable steps for each stage. Page is about making your listing good. Performance keeps all your listings and your account on Amazon's good side. Push is about actively marketing your listings to taste that $60.5 billion. So going a little bit deeper into each stage, the page part is also known as listing optimization. This is about the content of your Amazon listing, which includes text, content, photos, pricing, and category, and operates on the level of your individual product listings. The effort involved is set it and forget it, so for the most part, you do this once and then you enjoy passive benefits forever. And the effect is that it's necessary but not sufficient for ranking, which means that it gets you a seat at the $60.5 billion table, but it does not guarantee that you'll eat. Stage 2, performance, also known as account optimization. These are operational actions that you take on behalf of your entire seller account to stay on Amazon's good side. It includes things like fulfillment, inventory management, and feedback. It concerns your whole seller account, not just individual listings. The effort is ongoing. You need to maintain a high level of performance at all times as an Amazon seller. That said, most of these processes can be automated once you find out what works for you. And the effect is that a healthy seller account maximizes your earnings across your entire lineup and keeps you from getting banned, which is a really good thing. This is more a defensive maneuver than an offensive one. But speaking of offense, we have stage 3, which is the push, also called marketing. These are specific activities that you can do to make more money on Amazon. It's both ongoing and active, so you can do this as much or as little as you want, and it determines whether you rank or tank. You know, if ranking was a race, a good page is a good, well-functioning car. But that's not enough. Good performance is your maintenance and your driver's license. And the push is stepping on the gas and driving around. So when stage 1, 2, and 3 are completed in the proper order, with the proper items done, you rank on Amazon and make more money. So altogether, looks like this. And now we're going to go over exactly what you need to do in each of the stages, 10 steps per stage. Let's go. Meet Owen. He's about to buy something on Amazon.com. Let's watch. And by the time he's done, you'll understand exactly how to improve your page to make more money on Amazon. Okay, so anyway, Owen works at a bank. He sits for 7 hours a day, so his back gets sore. Owen's coworker Rupert, pictured below taking sweet shots for my Instagram, leans over and tells Owen to try a foam roller. Now, okay, Rupert's a weirdo, but when it comes to health and fitness, he knows his stuff. Turns out that our friend Owen belongs to the 64% of American households with Amazon Prime, and when he needs something, he searches Amazon first, like 55% of all product searches. So he punches foam roller into Amazon. On his laptop, he gets this. On his phone, he gets this. You might be wondering, well, how does Owen's story help you make more money? It tells you what's important. If you want a hint, this heat map from SEOmax.com really brings the point home. When deciding which to buy, shoppers like Owen first consider your main photo, title, then price. But this isn't just about Owen. Sorry, Owen. This is about the millions of Owens searching Amazon every second for what you sell. Do these 10 things to make sure that Owen buys from you and not your competition. Number 1 is the main photo. You need to make it compliant and clickable. So, fact number 1, Western eyes read from left to right. And fact number 2, humans, like Owen, who is a human, processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text. That is overpowered, and that is why Amazon starts search results with pictures on the left. So your main image is truly make or break. Like, if there's one thing to outsource to a professional, this is it. And here's what Amazon tells you about your main image. Images must accurately represent the product and show only the product that's for sale. In other words, when Owen orders and UPS delivers and he cuts that smiley face tape, what's in the box? That is what's in the main photo. The second thing is that main images must have a pure white background. RGB values 255 across the board. The main image must show the actual product and not a graphic or illustration, and must not show excluded accessories, so props that may confuse the customer, or text that is not part of the product, and logos, watermarks, and inset images, which I know look sweet, but they're against TOS. And the product must fill 85% of the image, which is why you often see that on Amazon. It goes up against the white background, the product is fairly large, and everything appears uniform, even though we're over 50% by third-party sellers at this point. So the images should be more than 1,000 pixels or larger in height or width, which will enable zoom. So Owen wants to zoom and see all the details, and then JPEG is preferred. We'll return to your other 6 photos as we follow Owen through to purchase. So the next thing Owen sees is your title. With the title, you're going to want to brand yourself and also rank for keywords. So 2 objectives here. Owen probably doesn't read the whole thing, like especially on his phone where it's truncated, but he wants to know 2 things primarily, even if he doesn't know them. Your product is reputable, and your product is actually what he's looking for. So here is the formula for the perfect title. It is brand name plus main keyword, stick in a pipe, and then other keywords. So for example, ProSource Sports Medicine Foam Roller, 33 centimeters, bunch of dimensions, with grid for deep tissue massage and trigger point muscle therapy, multiple colors. So this formula answers Owen's 2 questions. The product has a brand behind it, so it's not some generic item. A common objection here might be, my brand isn't big enough to put my name first. And the counter argument here is, well, it'll never be big enough if you never mention it. So Amazon is increasingly also rewarding brand behavior, and we'll talk about this in stage 2, performance. So I do recommend putting a brand name at the front of your title. Now, the main keyword foam roller is right behind the brand name. This tells Owen that we have what he's looking for. And ProSource, the seller here, also hits other major keywords like deep tissue massage and muscle therapy in a way that's well punctuated, it's easy to read, and it's grammatically sound. So you might be wondering, this main keyword, how do I know what my main keyword is? The answer is it's the keyword with the intersection of the highest traffic and the highest relevance to your particular product. So you can discover which keywords those are by filtering through on a website like Merchant Words, which allows you to find keywords, discover new ones, and also see an estimated search volume of all of the different keywords so that you can find your best one, your main one. And Amazon also wants to help us out here. They have a few technical notes about your title. So the product title length must not exceed a maximum of 200 characters, which includes spaces in all categories. Some of the categories might have different maximum length than 200 characters. To know the accurate maximum title length for your respective category, please refer to your category-specific style guide. And this here is from the document FBA Product Title Requirements. You're supposed to capitalize the first letter of each word. Don't use all caps. Conjunctions, and, or, for, and articles, the, a, an, should not be capitalized. And don't capitalize prepositions with fewer than 5 letters. It's in, on, over, and with. Now, seconds after scanning your title, Owen checks your price. So what's important here? The important thing isn't being the cheapest, which is a total race to the bottom, and your profits will get competed away. Rather, it's about being the best value. So 4 ways to do this are, number 1, position your product for a specific type of person. So for example, this is a foam roller for athletes. Athletes and other demographics pay more for a brand that really gets them and their needs. As the quality and specificity of your solution increase, so can your margins. A second strategy is to be the Rolls Royce of your market. So you build a deluxe feature set and you charge a lot for it on purpose. So Owen doesn't know much about foam rollers, so he uses this common heuristic, expensive equals good. In areas that you're unfamiliar with, I bet you do this too. So, for example, Hyper Ice charges $199 for this vibrating roller, which is head and shoulders above the $30, $40, $50 price points that you normally see. A warning here is that you do need the photography and the product quality to justify your price point, or it's game over, because there's nothing that converts worse than a high-priced product with a bad review. So just keep that in mind. The third strategy here is that you could make a clear functional improvement that's obvious from just looking at your main image. So for example, this foam roller emphasizes the extra firm aspect, obvious from its plastic shine. So other rollers don't reflect light like that. Firmness is going to be important to some people, right? Again, fair warning, you need to make sure that it's a feature that customers actually care about and is underserved in this particular niche. And lastly, you can bundle. You can add related products to your offering. You increase your overall ticket price, which pads your margins in the process. Again, with the warning, the bundle really needs to make sense, or else you eliminate the Owens that want only a foam roller and don't want to pay for extra stuff that they feel is unnecessary. On the topic of getting Owen to click us and not the other guy, there are coupons. Number 4, coupons catch the eye, get the click. Okay, you can create public coupons in Seller Central in the advertising and then coupon section. This creates a small but noticeable orange tag next to your product in search results. This increases clicks and gives shoppers a reason to buy now, because how long will your sale last? No one really knows. And here is a seller who's lower on page 1 and uses a coupon to get more clicks. At first glance, actually, it's kind of cool because it's on par with the bestseller badge. At a glance, you can't really tell the difference. And a side note here, coupons are limited to sellers with a feedback rating of 3.5 and above. So we're going to talk all about seller performance on stage 2 and how to make sure that this metric doesn't fall through the floor. Number 5, keyword density. In other words, more keywords equals more chances to win. So remember how Owen found us in the first place? He searched for a keyword, foam roller. But what if his back muscles were hurting that day and he searched muscle therapy instead? If our listing is missing the keyword muscle therapy, we can't show up for it in search and we lose the sale. We lose any possibility of the sale. So you need to do thorough keyword research, which looks like this. We'll run through it now. Go to Merchant Words, it's merchantwords.com, enter the keyword foam roller and download the results of that search. But don't stop there. Go into the suggestions from the foam roller search and download those as well. Another place to source, go to Amazon and type foam roller into the search bar and see what it suggests. The keywords at the top of the suggestion dropdown are most searched and the bottom are least searched. Scour the internet for keywords related to your product and compile them into one document. And then prune the list until you found the keywords with the highest traffic, but also the highest relevance to what you sell. So the more good keywords of this nature you have in your listing, the more chances to win. So now back to Owen. Assuming that Owen likes what he sees, we have a good main photo, we have a good title, we have a price that makes sense, and maybe we have a coupon to get his attention. He clicks on your listing, but you haven't won the sale just yet. Owen is taking a closer look, but he must be compelled to buy. We don't want to trip at the finish line here. Number 6, other photos. We're talking about 2 product glamour shots and 4 hero shots. So Owen clicked on your listing based on your main image, which is great. We got the click. The main image represents your first and most important image slot, but Amazon also gives you 6 more chances to convince Owen to buy, so here are Amazon's notes on those. Main images should be supplemented with additional images showing different sides of a product in use, or details that aren't visible in the main image. Okay, fair enough. And all props or accessories must be presented in a way that do not cause customer confusion. So of these 6, I recommend 2 on white product shots. So just show the curves, contours, different angles per Amazon suggestions. So this shows Owen what he's getting and shows off the high quality materials. And remember that all of these photos should at least be 1,000 pixels in one of the height or width directions so that your pictures can zoom. So for example, this seller uses their second image to emphasize the foam. So product glamour shots, that's 2 of 6 down. Then you get 4 hero images showing the product in use and, more importantly, enjoyed. This is a psychological trick because humans are empathetic social animals. So when we see pictures of other humans, we automatically put ourselves in their position. Look, it's not about the foam roller anymore, is it? It's about imagining yourself young in a nice house at less than 10% body fat, toning your core before a blissful day at the beach. Your photos must promise a compelling post-purchase future. And you need to remove the friction of imagining how the product will make the future better by just showing them the thing. Just show it. Make it obvious. And by the way, it's a future so valuable that they'll gladly pay you to make it happen. And number 7, bullets and description. So these are keyword rich and persuasive at the same time. Owen likes your photos, but he hasn't quite made up his mind. Okay, so he scrolls down and sees your 5 bullet points, and further down, your written description. 2 things to do in your bullets and description. 1, put more keywords in, and 2 is convince Owen to buy. Now, the keywords that you didn't have space for in your title, but are still high traffic and high relevance, go here, for sure. You need to work them in. Recall that more keywords equals more chances to win. But we've already talked about keyword research, so instead let's focus on using sales copy to convince Owen to buy from you. He's on the fence. Your text needs to push him and his $50 order onto your side. Now, humans can be complicated, but when it comes to buying stuff online, not so much. In fact, Scott Galloway of market research firm L2 calls Amazon our collective large intestine, providing a pipeline of pleasurable goods to households around the world. And there are only 8 things that people really want. 8 core things which, if you appeal to them, will help to sell your product. It's called the Life Force 8. It was coined by Drew Eric Whitman in his book Cashvertising in 2008. It turns out that all people really want is survival, enjoyment of life and life extension, enjoyment of food and beverages, freedom from fear, pain, and danger, sexual companionship, comfortable living conditions, to be superior, winning, keeping up with the Joneses, care and protection of loved ones, and social approval. Not so hard. You'll see best results by using at least 3 out of 8 throughout your listing. More is better, of course, but you need to implement them naturally. Most sellers only list features, but not you. You press the 8 buttons that actually drive purchase behavior. Listing features without benefits adds friction to Owen's buying decision. Why? Because he needs to read the feature and then he needs to translate it into a benefit for himself. So you don't want to make him think. Examples. Silly Boy silicone baking mats eliminate the need for cooking oil, easier and healthier. That's fine, but want the very best for your family? Silly Boy mats cut oil from your cooking, which means easier and healthier meals for everyone. The LF8 trigger there is care and protection of loved ones. You bring their family into it with a question right up front. This blouse hugs your curves and makes you look great. Have you been married for 20 years? Doesn't matter. This blouse will give him first date butterflies all over again. The LF8 trigger is sexual companionship. And, I got a little cosmopolitan there, but it's because it works. Powerful, impressive, handcrafted in Italy. Invest in a true power tie. It's not just a tie. It's your reputation. Put it on, close that deal. Discover what power tie really means. But wait, there's more. Here are 12 killer sales copy tactics to make more money. Very powerful, so use them ethically. Number 1, say you. Speak in the second person. Address the reader as you because, like the hero images, it puts Owen in the driver's seat, and you'll find that your ears perk up. 2, use short, simple words. Don't lose the sale because of complicated text. Big words add friction, so make it easy, like a 5th grade reading level. Examples are, use and not utilize, different, not disparate, and lots, not myriad. Don't try to be fancy, don't make them work, don't make them think. But if a complex word is the right word to use, it's the right tool, then use it. Everything in its time. Use the active voice, not the passive voice. Always use this sentence structure, subject, verb, object, not object, verb, subject. So for example, the race was won by Wario. Wario won the race. Why? It's because our brains think in active order. So item 1 does something to item 2, not item 2 had something done to it by item 1. Easy to read equals more sales. So for more tips like this, I recommend The Elements of Style from 1918 by William Strunk. Number 4, use stories as Trojan horses for your sales message. Don't give Owen a list of features. Instead, tell him a story of an office worker whose back was killing him. Sitting is today's smoking. And how your foam roller made him a new man, surging with energy, ruthlessly efficient, and noticed by that cute girl at the gym. Survival, enjoyment of life, life extension, to be superior, winning, keeping up with the Joneses. Heck, the power of stories is why there's even an Owen and a Rupert in the first place. It's easier to convey how to rank on Amazon by showing how Owen shops instead of, 3 steps. Number 5, loss is 2 times more persuasive than gain. So, by all means, give Life Force 8 benefits, but also tell Owen what he has to lose if he fails to buy. Dr. Jordan Peterson, you should have a heaven to reach for and a hell to run away from, which equals 2 times the motivation. So a weird fact of human psychology here is that humans are disproportionately loss averse. So it might be 2 times more effective than gain to talk about loss. In other words, if you lost $50, you'd need to win $100 to recover from that loss and get to psychological break even, as it were. You could tell Owen that his household wastes $150 a year just because his current curtains don't keep the heat in properly. Or he spends $200 a year on cooking oil when baking mats do the exact same thing for like 1/10 of the cost. Or the sunglass industry is a monopoly. It's screwing him and he needs to cut out the middleman. He deserves designer frames without the designer markup. Number 6, mental imagery. So use words that conjure mental pictures. This car accelerates incredibly fast. This car accelerates like a scalded cat. Which is better? Incredibly fast is an abstract concept, so it's kind of hard for Owen to imagine the benefit to him. Scalded cat is a concrete object. Owen has seen cats, and he knows, like, geez, that's really fast. 7. Aren't questions better? Questions are better than statements, except for that statement. Questions make Owen think and then answer in his head. It's just how we're programmed. Adding to that is number 8, hypnotic language patterns. These are extremely powerful and you should use them ethically. Also sicker than your average. So don't use this. Why invest in silicone baking mats? You could say this instead. You might be wondering, why invest in silicone baking mats? It's hypnosis because Owen wasn't wondering this, but he is now. You're a traffic cop directing his thoughts to the desired destination. Another example. You'll feel amazing when you use the Foam Me foam roller. Or, I wonder if you realize just how amazing you'll feel when you use the Foam Me foam roller. This is as close to the sort of inception as you'll get. It's a gentle suggestion that tells Owen to realize something on his own and subsequently take ownership of that idea. Another example. Get the very best for your family. Or, you're here because you want the very best for your family. It's an undeniable statement that makes Owen feel understood, as if your product is designed just for him. So when the buyer feels you're uniquely suited to solve their problem, their price elasticity increases, as we discussed earlier. Number 9, because and imagine. The word because raises compliance to requests from 60% to 94%. You're waiting in line to use the photocopier. You approach the current user and try to cut the entire line. You say, "Excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine?" 60% compliance. "Excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I have to make copies?" 93% compliance. Now that jump is ridiculous because everyone in line presumably needs to make copies, but you use the word because there. "Excuse me, I have 5 copies. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush?" 94% compliance. A little bit of a better reason, but the point here is that the word because, regardless of the reason that is given afterwards, is quite effective and will lift compliance considerably. So you can also use the word imagine because this triggers a mental try-on, right? It's the mental cousin of the physical puppy dog clothes or the car test drive. Imagine is the free trial of the mind. Number 10, social proof and 1, 2, 3s. Has your product been endorsed by experts? Think about it. Are there studies? How many customers have you helped? Tout these numbers. And we're talking about the literal numbers here. You use numerals like 60,000 instead of writing the word 60,000 because digits stop the I. So more on-page engagement is just more money for you. Number 11, no guarantees. Don't give a guarantee, not because it isn't persuasive. Guarantees are actually very persuasive, but because it's against Amazon's rules. Save that for your Shopify store. And number 12, if you're selling supplements, you really need to know your stuff. Selling supplements can be quite lucrative, of course, but you need to look into getting ungated, as you do with other categories, FDA regulations, and the text and the claims in your listing surrounding those regulations, and other stuff. All right, number 8, we're on to search terms. This is your last chance to include good keywords. Search terms are the only part of the Amazon listing that's invisible to shoppers, like they do not see them at all. Instead, think of them as tags. And many platforms use tags, like hashtags, for example, to make content discoverable. It's not really anything new. So in this case, it's a string of words, mostly nouns and adjectives, about your product. When you add them to your listing, this tells Amazon that these terms are relevant to your product. Then you have a chance of showing up for them. Zooming on in, let's check out 3 tips from Amazon's world-famous Optimize Listings for Search and Browse. Your search terms must be, number one, relevant. So for example, you sell a popcorn maker, don't include the terms ice cream, cones, bakery, and Obama. Things really went sideways when you said Obama. More interestingly, things like ice cream and cones are food, and you have a popcorn maker, so you might think this is okay, but the association is too loose. Another example, you sell whatever this is, some hammer, and acceptable search terms would include nail pounder, nail puller, ripping tool, because they're synonyms, and they're alternative names that the customer would use in a search. The second thing your search terms must be is technically compliant. Interestingly, Amazon doesn't reward keywords that appear more than once throughout your entire listing. So if a keyword is somewhere else, like your title, bullets, or description, you actually don't need to include it in your search terms section. So there's no reward for redundancy. The same goes for pluralization and capitalization. So you don't need all the different spellings of color, and you don't need dashes, commas, conjunctions, and the like. Amazon wants unique, relevant nouns and adjectives written as a string. Moreover, it's a string of words in the most logical order. So in Amazon's words, a customer is more likely to search for big stuffed teddy bears than for teddy stuffed bears. Moreover, part 2, Amazon usually shows you the character limits right there in Seller Central. And of course, don't exceed your character limits. And lastly, the search terms must be, number 3, non-subjective. So for example, your product is wood, bamboo, temple, wayfarer, sunglasses, green frame. Great. And you put amazing, good quality, trendy fashion 2014, bestseller, etc. These are subjective. Sorry, not an objective description. Ironically, the line as to what is subjective versus descriptive is itself subjective, so use your best judgment here. I like to think of search terms as, if a customer were to search for them and then be disappointed to find you in search results, that's probably not relevant enough. But you can, of course, list topics that are related to your product. So Amazon says time travel is an acceptable search term for the book The Shadow Beast: An Adventure in Time. Number 9, brand name. Build legitimacy and rank for keywords if you can. So in choosing the brand name, consider this. The name of the seller on Amazon, your company, should match the brand name in the title, which avoids confusion and builds trust with buyers. And for bonus points, try to include a high traffic keyword in your brand name, if you can and are so inclined. That way you're building brand recognition and ranking for keywords at the same time. This is optional, but could give you a little bit of extra ranking power. And number 10, category and subcategory. Get it right or suffer forever. When editing your listing, head to more details, then find the category item type. This allows you to classify your item as you see fit. Now, accuracy is key here. The category should be true to the product. This affects your sales because shoppers often browse by category. So if you're in a category that isn't relevant to you, you get fewer sales. So one way to determine what category to choose is to look at a batch of about 15 competitors, if you have any competitors, and see how they're categorized. Then check their estimated monthly revenues with a tool like Jungle Scout to see if there is a correlation between where listings are categorized and their revenues. So with this in mind, there are 3 scenarios that could come out here. Scenario 1, if your competitors are in the same category and all have good revenues, you could use that category. Scenario 2, if your competitors are all in the same category and have bad revenues, what is your differentiation strategy here? Because everything that has been tried before does not work, so you can choose a new category, most likely. Scenario 3 is if competitors are in various categories, you could check their monthly revenues to find a correlation between which category they're in and their sales, as well as taking into account your particular product. If it turns out the category does not affect revenue, then you choose the category that's more accurate for you. If category does affect revenue, then you might consider going into the one with more sales. And remember, some categories require sellers to be ungated in order to sell there. So of course, if this is your first product and you don't want to do that, don't choose a product category that you're not allowed to sell in. Full list of gated categories in the description. But the most notable ones are beauty, clothing, and health and personal care. So if you're doing supplements, you'd need to get ungated for that. All right, stage 2, performance. Being a good Amazon seller is too vague. Let's break it down into 10 do and do not items. So most multi-million-dollar Amazon FBA sellers are doing these 10 things right. Do and don't. Let's play. Number 1, sourcing, have a unique name and form factor. So do, sell a private label product. What's good is you source a product from a factory and print your own logo on the product. What's better is you have an obvious logo, plus you make specific physical modifications that enhance the product. You improve its value to the existing target market, or maybe you make changes to add value for a certain type of person. And best is you have the logo, you have the physical improvements, and you have a distinctive form factor, a styling that becomes synonymous with your brand over time. Examples: Razer, it's obviously for young people who prioritize gaming, sharp, fun, bright LEDs. Apple, you buy to impress people, perhaps. It looks great, and it just works. Round, modern contours. Mountain Equipment Co-op, it's an outdoors aesthetic with a cult attached. Starbucks, it's your comfortable third place between work and home, but not too comfortable. Don't sell a retail arbitrage product. You're selling a retail arbitrage product and you're competing for the buy box. It's a great way to cut your teeth, for sure, but I want you to make a meaningful amount of money. So by definition, RA is selling a product that already exists, so it's hard to add value and therefore margin. Number 2, brand. You need to build a brand so you can charge more. Do build a brand and aim for Amazon brand registry over time. Top level trend alert: Amazon is making structural changes that favor these brand builders. Meet Amazon brand registry. If you're registered, you get an increased protection against counterfeits and listing hijackers, the use of enhanced brand content, which improves on-page conversions, and maybe other stuff. We'll see. I can see Amazon building a suite of benefits only available to registered brands. It's like an Amazon Prime offering for third-party sellers. This is speculative, but I think the trajectory is correct. To become brand registered, you need this stuff. And normally, objects have a set market price. Toilet paper, $7. Burger and fries, $10. Windex, $5. But brand lets you shatter this price ceiling, transcending the margins of a typical physical product business. Luxury brands add value by infusing their products with a tangible story via marketing messages over time. It's a shared fiction that most people believe. That's a brand. Eventually, the product emits a social signal. It's usually tying the owner to a successful Life Force 8 type of trait. Either they're affluent, they're fun, they're youthful, etc. So branding is a function of widely spread, curated messages over time, but it's the only thing that allows physical products to transcend their inherent marginal cost. So over time, certainly worth it. You'll find that you don't want to sell products that have a generic brand name. They are commodities and have set prices. They have no room for differentiation or branding, and they have no trademark and brand registry potential. Number 3, inventory management. Always be in stock. So do stay in stock 100% of the time. And don't run out of stock. So know this. How long does it take for your supplier to make more product? Are there events, famously like Chinese New Year in February, that will slow your production schedule? Ask your supplier for a copy of their calendar. Know when they're working and when they're not working. And you should also know this. If your current sales increase by 25%, 50%, etc., how much runway do you have in terms of inventory? And you should be producing well before then. If your item is oversized, Amazon limits how many units you can keep in FBA warehouses at one time, so inventory management is even more crucial in these cases. Obviously, don't run out of stock. Worse than the lost daily sales, worse than the money is the lost ranking. Of course, if you do ever find your rank slipping, you can use something like Below Cost Club to add additional sales to your lineup at any point. Number 4, fulfillment. Use FBA and not FBM. So do use fulfillment by Amazon. In other words, ship your inventory to an Amazon FBA warehouse prior to selling it. It then becomes eligible for Prime 2-day shipping. Amazon handles shipping and customer service. This guarantees fast times and more happy customers. And anecdotally, you enjoy better ranking than similar products from sellers who are doing the shipping themselves. And why wouldn't you? It's Amazon's field, and they want to favor sellers that use their services more heavily. So don't ship products to Amazon customers yourself. It's just hard to beat Amazon's 2-day shipping. Plus, you're on the hook for negative feedback if an item arrives slow or otherwise compromised, and you're not if you're fulfilling by FBA. Number 5, customer questions. Answer ASAP. So do answer customer questions on your listing. Add keywords to your answers while you're at it. It might help to index. And don't ignore customer questions. Number 6, consolidate related ASINs into parent-child relationships. So if you're selling different products, but the only difference between those products is size or color or some other minor difference, list them under a parent-child relationship, which means all your traffic gets directed to one place, not many different places. And it also encourages cross-sells. And don't, if your product comes in red, blue, and yellow, create distinct ASINs for each and then release them into space. Number 7, performance pre-purchase metrics should be as perfect as you can make them. So do keep the page content, text, and photos relevant to maximize these 3 metrics. So time on page and bounce rate, so exit rate and conversion rate. In other words, you'll take care of customers and Amazon will take care of you. Don't use keywords that aren't related to your product, even if they're high traffic. It's tempting at first, but you'll get punished on these engagement metrics and therefore won't rank as high. Number 8, performance post-purchase metrics are also on point. So do maximize these 3 metrics: order processing speed, order defect rate, and order and perfect order percentage. So you can accomplish these by using FBA, but also inspect your inventory for quality defects prior to shipping to an Amazon FBA warehouse to improve the defect rate. So don't use FBM fulfillment and send inventory to Amazon without some sort of quality inspection. Number 9, the packaging, frustration-free and compliant. So do enroll in the frustration-free packaging program. It's favored by customers by definition because no one pays an extra $3 for frustration packaging, and therefore Amazon. So you see the pattern? It's just customer-centric all the way down. You or your supplier should be prepping and packaging your products in compliance with Amazon standards. Special rules apply if your product is loose in the box, sold as a set, box, polybagged, case packed, expires, has liquid, has sharp edges, has batteries, etc. Don't ignore Amazon packaging standards. It's like a bouncer turning away a guy in a t-shirt for a dress code violation. The inventory can be sent away at the door of an Amazon FBA warehouse for this sort of thing. And number 10, badges. Become Amazon's choice if you can. Another sort of trend alert is Amazon is hunting for the best product in each really small micro category and labeling it Amazon's choice. Why is this? It points online shoppers in the right direction. As we talked about, less thinking is less friction is more sales, sure. But also Alexa. Alexa represents a growing share of Amazon orders, and when a customer does a search using their voice, Amazon can't return dozens of simultaneous visual results like on mobile and PC. So voice forces Alexa to present the buyer with one initial choice. That's Amazon's choice. In terms of what to do, there's nothing you can do to force the badge, but you can take care of the other 9 performance points above to maximize your odds. A strong brand, in stock all the time, fulfilled by Amazon, attentive to customer questions, strong pre- and post-sale metrics, and good packaging. Don't ignore points 1 to 9, and you'll be fine. Stage 3, push, also called marketing, home stretch here. So let's recap really quickly. In stage 1, we covered the page. Your listing has lots of keywords and persuasive sales copy. Stage 2, we covered performance. So you take care of the customers and Amazon takes care of you. These 2 are necessary but not sufficient for making the money you want. So for example, foam roller. In stage 1, we saw that another keyword for foam rollers was muscle therapy. You did the keyword research and included muscle therapy in your listing, but so did other savvy sellers. So if 2 sellers both have muscle therapy in their listings, which one does Amazon decide to show on page 1? The one with more sales, specifically relative sales velocity. How many sales are you making in the past and recently compared to your competition? This brings us to stage 3, which is the push, or marketing, or ranking on page 1 of search results for your keywords. Now, 70% of all sales ever are made on page 1, so if you're not there, you're losing 70% of your earnings. Another way to think about it, perhaps, is that we have the wood, now we need the match. We have the nice tuned-up car, now we need gas. We have a good spacecraft, now escape velocity to reach orbit. We're going to calculate your target daily sales. So Amazon ranks products based on this relative sales velocity. How many sales are you making? How many sales are your competitors making? So, for example, the average page 1 swaddling blanket seller sells around 850 units a month. That's around 30 units a day. If we want to rank on page 1 for swaddling blanket, that's the gap we need to close. The gap from 0 sales to 30 sales a day. So email me at pat@belowcost.club with your main keyword, and I'll send you a free estimate for your product in particular. Taking a closer look at the sales, it's sort of about your past and your present. So it's about building sales history. This is like building a resume. The past. Amazon wants sales history. They want to know that the product is sold consistently on a daily basis in the past because it's a fairly good indication of future success. So the longer you've been making sales in general, the better, with, say, a 30-day track record being better than a 14-day one, assuming that sales are stable across both. Now, going further to the present, history is great, but Amazon asks, what have you done for me lately? And that is sales velocity. Are recent sales trending up, down, flat? More recent periods are weighed more heavily. In other words, making 20 sales a day in the last 7 days affects ranking more than if you made 20 sales a day for 7 days 3 months ago. That's old news. Based on these two factors, the sales history and the sales velocity, the past and the present, Amazon gives you a bestseller rank, which is always in flux based on the sales you're getting, plus what your competitors are doing. And we need sales to get the ball rolling, but it's a catch-22 because how does a new listing get sales without any prior sales? Or how do you get a job without any prior experience, like those darn millennials? You'll hear a lot of different tactics, and we'll discuss the best ones. But it always comes down to this. Promote your product at a discount to an audience that's likely to buy it. Promote your product at a discount to an audience that's likely to buy. Promote, you need a group of people. Discount, sellers offer a discount because it gives shoppers a reason to buy now instead of later, kind of like the coupons we talked about earlier. Also, it gives you the ability to sell a consistent number of units per day. So because demand is up, because price is down, you can therefore dictate the number of units that you're selling per day more reliably than if you were just giving a 10% discount, for example. And the audience. Use a platform like Below Cost Club, which is us, or Facebook, or Amazon. We'll discuss where to find these audiences and how to sell to them. So at this stage, at this very early pivotal time, we're not necessarily interested in making a profit per sale. In fact, it's fine to lose money on each individual sale as long as it's part of a larger strategy to rank on Amazon and enjoy the money made from long-term organic sales, budget permitting, of course. This is up to you. And sort of lastly, as we leave this general talk about sales, consider escape velocity. Like, did you see the SpaceX rocket launch, for example? You need these giant rocket boosters to get the ship off the ground and into orbit. But then, once you're in orbit and gravity weakens, you can coast. You can relax. The system starts working for you now instead of pulling you down. Similarly, you need enough sales history and velocity to rank on page 1, which is like getting into orbit. But once you do, the organic sales start happening on their own because of your page rank, and you can ease off promotional sales. The goal is certainly not to sell at low prices forever. It's only until you hit this point of escape velocity. But until this point, it pays to be aggressive. The system won't tip in your favor unless you apply this initial force. Because there's just no logical reason for Amazon's algorithm to favor you over someone who's making more sales in the past and currently. So we're going to go over 3 ways to get Amazon sales. This is the million-dollar question. How do you get those initial sales? Well, there are 3 proven ways, and it's all the same concept. Just a group of people who are likely to buy. You send them a coupon code along with your Amazon link, and everything else is secondary. So here are 3 ways to accomplish this. You do a good old Amazon product launch like Below Cost Club or similar. Amazon product launch services like ours build a large group of targeted Amazon shoppers, and then we basically take your Amazon link and your single-use coupon codes and distribute them one by one to ready-to-buy Amazon shoppers. In our case, we use Amazon single-use codes so that they can't be used multiple times. More on how to create those here. Shoppers are notified of your deal by email and online, and you, the seller, control how many coupons you submit so that you can control how many sales you get per day. This builds a consistent sales history and velocity. It works well and is automated. It's Facebook ads. It's the same idea, but you get the shoppers from Facebook yourself. This allows full control over the process. So here's what it might look like. Just head into Facebook ads in the Power Editor, create a new campaign, choose the lead generation option, which allows shoppers to pop their names and emails into a form. You target people who live in the United States and speak English as a native language, assuming you're running this promotion for Amazon.com, which is the US Amazon property. Start at $5 a day. Start small, work your way up as results start to come in. And this is a common but obvious error. If you're not getting results from your Facebook ads, don't spend more. figure out how it works on a smaller level, and then scale it up from there. Make the offer something like, do you want this swaddling blanket for $1? Enter your name and email here, and we'll send you a coupon. Or pick the traffic objective and drive traffic en masse to a landing page built with a website tool like WordPress, Shopify, or ClickFunnels. That's in order of cost and goodness. And that offers a general use coupon code. This is slightly less secure because general code can be shared and used an infinite number of times, but it avoids the logistical difficulty of assigning a unique code to a shopper once you find them. Facebook ads, of course, are pay to play, but remember, it's okay to invest money acquiring early customers because, again, the objective is to rank and make organic sales that way. And third is Amazon pay-per-click. You can actually skip the line and appear directly on page 1 today, for the right price, of course. For a fact that shoppers you reach via Amazon PPC are 1, already on Amazon, and 2, they're searching for a keyword related to your product, so you'd be remiss not to include this in your strategy. There's no offering single-use coupon codes for a deep discount here, but this can drive sales, especially if your listing and your price are compelling enough. At the beginning, as with most PPC platforms, the initial run is really about just buying data. It might not be initially profitable. You're buying information on which keywords work and which ones don't. Run an automatic campaign at $10 a day. After 7 days of automatic, make manual campaigns centered around keywords that worked well in automatic. Just follow the money. So those are 3 ways to get sales. Now, if sales are king, reviews are queen. In the short term, focus on getting your first review. Preferably a good one. The marginal benefit from going from 0 to 1 review is extremely high, especially if the review is favorable. And by the time you have 50 reviews, it's been proven that conversion rate increases by 4.6%, which is a permanent conversion boost that's worth a lot of money over time. So in terms of reviews, asking your friends and family is out of the question because the reviews will be tracked and removed. When it comes to reviews, certainly the focus is still on sales, as we've been doing, because every new sale can be converted into a review. One precedes the other. No one's reviewing without buying the product first, at least not if you're abiding by TOS. So realistically, expect a purchase review conversion rate of 1 to 5%. Amazon actually prompts shoppers about reviewing their purchases on their end. This process is responsible for a baseline review rate of maybe around 1%. And on your end, you can focus on getting sales through launches, Facebook ads, and PPC, and then using Amazon's native buyer-seller messaging system to contact people who bought from you. Ask them for honest feedback as part of your customer service sequence after the order's been placed. I'll give you 2 notes on policy compliance so you can stay as safe as possible. When you ask for a review, you're asking for an honest review only, not a 5-star review, not good feedback, just their honest opinion. There should be no language in the message that flavors it such that it looks like you're asking for good feedback only. And the second thing is the deal. Only discuss the reviews post-purchase. So the buyer, no matter what sales method you're using to get the sale, should have no conception that they're getting the discount because they're expected to review. It's not a trade, so it's not this. I'll give you a discount if you review. Amazon banned this practice in October 2016. Asking for reviews is more like an afterthought. It's a chat that you have with the buyer post-purchase. Framing it as part of your customer service sequence is much safer. So, hey, how's your experience with the product? If there's anything we can help with, feel free to let us know. We love our customers and want to make sure you have the best experience possible. You can automate your post-purchase message sequence with a service like Feedback Genius or SalesBacker. Plugs into Seller Central, you pick the templates that you want to send on any given day, and then it sends out the emails for you so that you don't really need to worry about it. And the sequence might look something like this. Email number 1, when their product has been shipped, and Amazon can tell you when this is. Maybe it says something like, your item has been shipped, bonus inside. You send the customer an email letting them know that the product has been shipped. You consider putting in a value add, like an image showing different ways to use the product, or maybe it's a written list of 10 things that you can try with the product out of the box to make their life better. Email 2, how's everything? The product is scheduled to have arrived, so the shipping time is finished, and it should have showed up with them. Ask if everything is to their satisfaction. Deal with any negative feedback here before it ever gets published as a review. Be liberal in issuing replacements and refunds for the greater good of your seller performance. And email number 3 is what do you think? So 3 days pass after the previous email. If it's all good, or perhaps they haven't said anything, you may ask for the review. Something like, we love feedback. Your honest opinion of the product will help thousands more people make a better decision. Here's a link to do that. Do not ask for anything positive in particular. And obviously the discount is in no way related to the review. This is just an ask as part of your customer service sequence. Let's put it all together. We're about to take the entire process, which may seem large, complicated, nebulous, and condense it into 4 phases. Again, your formula to rank on page 1. If the average page 1 swaddling blanket guy sells 850 units a month, or 30 sales a day, this is the gap we need to close. So with that in mind, we get initial sales with Below Cost Club and Facebook. Below Cost Club is good for automation and hands-off sort of way of getting sales. If you can offer a discount that's significant, you can get a lot of sales and control the quantities. I see this every day. And Facebook is good if you want maximum control over who you reach. Facebook targeting is quite good, and what price you want your product to be. You can offer any % off, but it's better and easier to control your sales if these initial sales are from a got-to-have-it sort of deal. And if you're not sure if your deal is a got-to-have-it deal, it's probably not. And you can use both of these in conjunction to get sales rolling. You then turn on Amazon pay-per-click, automatic, then manual. You've established a baseline at this point. You have regular, everyday sales with a launch platform. Say like maybe you're doing 20 out of your 30 target daily sales that you need. PPC can provide the other 10. You launch an Amazon PPC campaign on automatic first, modest budget, $10 a day or something. This generates additional sales closer to full price. So you're working with a mix of 3 sales sources: Below Cost Club, Facebook, and Amazon pay-per-click. And this can be seen in 4 distinct phases that happens over and over again. In phase 1, you're getting 2/3, 66% of all your sales on Amazon are discounted sales. Below Cost Club and Facebook. And then 33% from Amazon pay-per-click for a total of about 30 sales a day. So you've closed the gap, but you're still losing money from the discounted sales because they're cost attached, of course. The objective is to slowly, like a highway merge ramp, shift proportions from low-priced sales to high-priced ones while maintaining our daily sales history and velocity at all cost. So that looks like this. Then we enter phase 2, where it becomes a more equitable distribution, so 50% from discounted sales and 50% from Amazon pay-per-click. You continue to rank, and you're starting to appear for some keywords because you're hitting these daily sales goals, and you enter phase 3. 33% discounted sales, 33% Amazon PPC, 33% organic sales because we're ranking now. The discounted sales and PPC have driven sales. You're ranking on page 1, 2, and 3 for some keywords. But the million-dollar question here in phase 3 is, can you stick the landing? Whether your rank sticks depends on the organic demand for the product once it becomes visible on page 1 or 2. Do organic Amazon shoppers actually click and buy it? And this is determined by the work that you did in stage 1 of this process, which is all the work on the page and the listing optimization, as well as getting your first review here in stage 3. So another tip to stick the landing is as soon as you start ranking for keywords, in other words, you're getting sales from customer searches and not just discounted and pay-per-click, then try lowering your public retail price or your MSRP. This way, when organic traffic looks at your listing, they see the page, they see a good price. So if our swaddling blankets, our normal retail is $30, we might try to lower the retail price to $15 for 3 days. We'll enjoy more organic sales, we'll rank higher, and we'll appear higher for keywords in turn. Rinse and repeat. The key here is just to maintain daily sales velocity at all cost. You can increase Below Cost Club submissions, you would increase Facebook ad spend, you can increase PPC ad spend as needed on slow sales days. Just don't fall back down the mountain. And once you're on page 1, eventually increase your price to normal levels. You keep the ranking, but you sell for a higher price, and congratulations, you are now profitable. So what does a phase 4 look like? This is a sales diet of a mature ranking product, and it looks like this. 33% Amazon pay-per-click, 66%, so 2/3, organic, with Below Cost Club and Facebook to drive additional sales as needed if you have an off day. So altogether, here's the progression. Discounted sales pave the way for organic ones. And here are 3 unfair advantages or compound growth hacks that I think Amazon sellers wish they knew, but they didn't when they got started. Amazon PPC compounding. So you're running pay-per-click campaigns every day. So over time, you know which keywords generate sales and which ones don't. For the ones that are working, you can actually add those keywords back into the written text of your listing so that you start to appear for them organically. So that's a great positive feedback loop that runs over time. The second of this sort is page one compounding. So organic sales beget more organic sales. This is why it's important to reach the escape velocity with discounted sales and by any means necessary. So page one sellers have an inherent advantage because they're on page one already. It's yours to lose at that point. And the third compounding effect is product portfolio compounding. So once your first product is a success and it is profitable, you can roll the profit back into more products so that you build a portfolio of strong players. This will take time. All of these will take time, and they all look worst at the beginning. So most people just quit, and that's why business success is synonymous with never giving up. Flywheels do take time to gather speed, and people quit before the speed ever picks up. If you like this concept, I recommend The Slight Edge 2011 by Jeff Olson. So I hope this helps. To start your product launch, consider Below Cost Club. It's the most affordable way to get new listings off the ground and start getting organic sales. It's 100% unlimited, so you're able to build sales history and velocity for one or many ASINs. Also, you don't have to worry about the infamous sales spiral of death when you have a slow sales day, so Amazon ranks you lower, so you have a low sales day, so Amazon ranks you lower, etc. Avoid all that, hit the button, and get started now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.